The next complaint in the social glove scandal has arrived. This has been a really eventful story since there seems to be a new complaint filed every couple of days. You typically need to watch Rich Housewives of Mobile, Alabama to see this much drama. Last week, a new complaint was filed from Tayler Holder and Nathaniel Wyatt against Austin and Alan McBroom and Austin's company Simply Greatness Productions. This complaint starts with fire. If you enjoyed the introduction, then you're gonna love this entire complaint. I think all future boxing events should include clauses that the losers of the boxing matches have to foot the bill for the event. Now that would be some awesome drama. Austin McBroom and his family gained notoriety in 2017 on YouTube vlogging their day-to-day lives on their own Ace Family channel, as scandals involving McBroom surfaced, and there was many allegations of cheating and R-word, sexist and racist tweets, a staged burglary, fraudulent charity events, a sham fan club with false promises of merchandise. The McBroom's number of followers grew. This sounds like a character attack sandwich where you surround major criticism with something nonchalant. Imagine a Christmas party you attend and you hear someone get asked how their cousin is doing. Well, cousin Doug finally got a job. Now that he's past his heroin addiction, he no longer stalks his ex-girlfriend. It's been months since he's fired off a racist tweet, and I think he stopped fraudulently filing for PPP loans. Other than that, Doug has been great. It was so good seeing him the other day. And as the number of followers grew, the McBroom financial fortune swelled, sustaining for now their insatiable appetite for extravagance, a $10 million house, an orange Lamborghini, and a Rolls Royce. Attack his character and imply that the family has plenty of money. So where's my client's money, Austin, is definitely the tone of the introduction. Capitalizing on the introduction of boxing exhibitions involving social media celebrities first introduced 3 years ago, McBroom conceived of Social Gloves Battle of the Platforms, the event, or Social Gloves. What I think happened with Austin is he was seeing Jake and Logan Paul have huge success with their boxing careers and wanted to one-up them. You'll see in just a second how big Austin thought this event was going to be. First, to accomplish his scheme, McBroom needed credibility. He engaged Paul Kazers as the executive producer, a veteran in the entertainment world specializing in new media, digital social platforms. Here's Paul's LinkedIn photo. He was definitely the offspring of a Brad Pitt and Matt Damon baby, isn't he? He simultaneously looks just like both. Here's Brad, here's Matt, and here's Brad Matt. As the social media world can be very competitive, McBroom's ability to attract other social media stars would be contingent on his hiding his ownership of this event from the other social media influencers whose involvement he pursued. This is shady behavior number one. Transparency is always the best way to live life. Hiding your ownership of the company hosting the Social Gloves event was about as dumb as someone trying to hide their income from a loan officer. When the other social media stars began to ask questions about the ownership of SGP, Austin McBroom and the SGP attorneys had a secondary scheme which they employed. Alan McBroom and Zyvan suggested that ownership of the LLC be transferred to Kazers on the day of a significant contract signing. Alan is Austin's dad and looks like someone who never outgrew his early 20s. I wouldn't be surprised if he listens to Eminem's Lose Yourself every time he's about to race the school bus next to him when parked at a red light. Let's see what else Alan recommended Austin do. Alan McBroom further suggested that following the execution of the agreement, ownership would then be returned to Austin McBroom. Kazers was stunned by Alan McBroom and Zyvan's devious plotting. In other instances, McBroom and SGP attorneys would simply forego SGP's executing the talent agreements. For those of you at home only partially listening, Alan suggested that they hide Austin's ownership in a devious way by signing docs one day that removes his ownership, wait until a fighter signs, then signs back Austin's ownership the next day. This sounds like a great way to escape paying bills. Sign some paperwork on a Wednesday transferring ownership of your property to your least favorite ex-girlfriend. When the bill arrives on Thursday, I don't know what this is about. I don't own this property. Then on Friday, sign the paperwork saying you do own the property. The bill collector is already gone by that point. Next, it was important to entice an investor to underwrite the cost of producing the event. This McBroom would accomplish with promises of a large-scale event and a large payday. To do this, Austin McBroom packaged his own marketing deck entitled The Largest Pay-Per-View Event in History. Whenever I pursue investors with a marketing deck, I always make sure to use grandiose promises as well. I tell male investors that if you invest in my venture, it will make you the largest in history. Works every time. Before any fighters signed on the dotted line, Austin was including any and all of the big names on social media who would be dumb enough to agree to fight.
224, no, happy May 3rd, retard haters. I just beat the shit out of a U.S. Marine. I won on points. I clocked him with a vicious left hook and the best punch of the fight, right hand.
Austin didn't include Charlie Zelenoff, which would have helped this event easily sell 10 million tickets. Austin makes sure to include the significant others of the fighters because there's nothing that kills engagement for these lady influencers more than promoting the fact that they have a boyfriend. If they promote their boyfriend on social media, they'll lose half of their followers immediately like they were playing Mario Kart with a pack of bananas. Austin also includes the total reach of all of the influencers that might be participating in the event. 393 million total reach is about as accurate as the scale at a phony weight loss doctor's office. Looks like you weigh 393 million pounds, Miss Janet. I think you need to upgrade to my platinum weight loss package. His projected pay-per-view streams were 10 million. This was a more out-of-touch number than Bill Gates thinking milk cost $20 a gallon or whatever on Ellen. 393 million reach, and 2.5% of those people will buy a $50 ticket to an amateur boxing event apparently. Yeah, these numbers are about as believable as the words coming out of Elizabeth Holmes' mouth when speaking about Theranos. In another version of his marketing deck, McBroom showed Kevin Hart as the host for Social Gloves, despite McBroom's never approaching Hart directly for the project. McBroom was informed that Hart would be out of the country during the event. The combined reach is now 702 million. If Austin was using this to raise capital, this is borderline illegal. It's not technically, but if you went to a venture capitalist and said your new app is gaining 10 million new users a week, your company could ask for millions. If the 10 million new users were bots, that would be fraud. This isn't fraud, but I see it as pretty unethical. He then says an estimated 5 million pay-per-view purchases will happen, which leads to an estimated $200 million as gross revenue. I love that he added the national anthem to be sung by James Charles. I'm surprised he didn't add that the mascot would be Logan Paul, halftime concert will be Madonna, and Cristiano Ronaldo will be the celebrity walking out with Austin. McBroom shopped the event to potential investors. He landed James Harden and Lil Baby co-investors. The investors advanced $2 million with the promise of being in a first priority position to recoup their hard money and an additional 10% of the adjusted gross revenue. The strippers in Houston are now the second highest paid people on James Harden's Rolodex. With this event taking place in June, maybe James's playoff struggles happen because he gets distracted, or maybe he turned to his teammate Kyrie Irving for investment advice, which unfortunately fell flat. With a marketing deck that demonstrated astronomical revenues, if McBroom was going to engage these social media influencers, he would have to tempt them with their own big paydays. In a span of a month, McBroom, behind the veil of SGP and the SGP attorneys, offered colossal payouts to the social media personalities, referred to as the talent. There's nothing easier in the world than convincing people to do something when you allow yourself to make unreasonable promises. You know how easy it is to be a fake guru and promise people that they'll get rich with your system? The reason why most of us can't make these kinds of get-rich promises is because we know we wouldn't sleep well at night. For the talent's promises to enter the ring for 3 to 6 rounds, SGP agreed to pay the talent as much as $5 million. In the case of Nathaniel Wyatt, SGP offered $500,000. For Tayler Holder, the compensation was $2 million. Relatively small initial payments were paid prior to the event. The majority of the contingent compensation would be paid after the event. This entire event was a scam. Austin and company made up inflationary numbers, then promised to pay fighters as much as $5 million to fight. These guys dance on camera for $1,000 sponsorship deals, so they're used to public humiliation for money. In addition, SGP gave the talent the ability to share in the massive projected profits. Thus, Holder was guaranteed $2 million against 2% of the adjusted gross revenue. For many of the talent, they were bedazzled by the marketing deck and accepted the promise of the large payday. For the savvier talent who were concerned about getting paid, McBroom had to field requests for first position and first priority. The savvier talent, aka the fighters that could smell the scam from a mile away, a couple of the fighters were paid up front who seemed to be the only winners from this entire event. Sadly, the fighters who were given a percentage of revenue probably feel like underpaid software engineers in the Bay Area who were paid 1% equity for being an early employee at a company that had no chance of going public but wanted you to believe so during the interview process. The problem for McBroom was that there can only be one first priority position, but as long as each talent making the request did not know what the other talent was promised, McBroom could acquiesce to the multiple requests for first position. So, under the cloak of confidentiality provisions in each agreement, SGP agreed to first priority provisions for 3 fighters, its executive producer, and its primary investor. Here's the best kept secret in sales. Promise the world to your customers with inflated marketing numbers, then lie to all of your clients that they will receive first priority. The 1-month spending spree in order to lock up the talent with exorbitant contracts caused McBroom's business manager, Mark Goodman, to remark to McBroom, "You are spending like a drunken sailor." LiveX Live developed an extensive marketing plan for SGP with a goal of achieving 2.2 million pay-per-view sales. The plan, however, required an investment of marketing dollars. If you can read between the lines, Austin gladly spent money he didn't have to incentivize the fighters to sign up. but when asked to invest in the marketing of the event, watch what he says. Austin McBroom refused to heed the recommendation of LiveX Live's marketing team. McBroom insisted it was sufficient to rely on the power of social media. In fact, SGP's agreements with the talent all include the following provision: talent shall promote their participation in the event across talent's social media channels. Austin didn't want to spend his money on marketing because it seems that he figured a few posts on social media would be enough to earn ticket sales. Business would be so much easier if a couple of posts on TikTok could generate $500 million in revenue. McBroom was warned by two experts that SGP's promotional strategy will not drive ticket purchases. Jackie Stone, LiveX Live's chief marketing officer, went on record with McBroom warning that his strategy will not generate no more than 200,000 pay-per-view sales. Lawyers out there, can you please hire me to proofread your complaints before submitting them? Every complaint I read, I'm able to find more flaws in the grammar than the amount of flaws in the business plans of guys you meet in a truck stop bathroom. Austin comes across like the annoying A-list actor who never listens to anyone on set. When an expert tells you what to do, you generally should listen. It sounded like Jackie Stone nailed the outcome. No more than 200,000 pay-per-view sales was correct. McBroom's business manager, Goodman, also sounded the alarm. He advised McBroom to cancel the event because there was little chance that, based upon the numbers at the point in time, the event would generate sufficient sales to cover the talent's contracts and other contracts. This event is starting to sound a lot more like the Fire Festival. You have a guy being told to cancel the event and refusing, celebrity investors, upset influencers, and a bunch of people who just want a great Netflix documentary full of drama to be the result. When the evening concluded, it was announced that the pay-per-view audience was 136,000, a far cry from the numbers McBroom had touted in his deck. Yet, the numbers were consistent the projections of Miss Stone. Another obvious grammatical mistake. My guess is Tayler and Nathaniel's lawyers were rushing to get this complaint out. It's basically a bank run at this point. Everyone is rushing to get their money now that they sense the money might not actually be there. McBroom then activated the final two components of his plan. First, he deflected and blamed LiveX Live for lying about the numbers. LiveX Live's accounting was audited by McBroom's consultant, FTI, and validated. Second, McBroom and SGP retained the legal services of the high-powered bankruptcy attorney, Richard Pacholski. The attorney sent this memo following the fight. In light of the apparent underperformance of the event, our firm has been retained to represent SGP in connection with either a workout of the claims of all of its creditors, or if a workout is not feasible, a likely bankruptcy filing. It didn't take long for the bankruptcy talk. It's too bad for everyone involved because these scenarios get ugly. Austin is trying his hardest to save face publicly. My guess is he has just enough money to keep the facade going, but it's going to end soon. I've been saying it from the start that the fighters won't be getting paid, and my position gets stronger with every complaint. Austin's family taking private jets, buying mansions, and flashy sports cars shows they spend money. Even his business manager said he's spending like a drunken sailor. That's reckless. He then spends a lot of money on an auditing firm and lawyers, basically drying up any of the money that was left, I imagine. While Pacholski was preparing this letter notifying the talent of the impending cram down or a bankruptcy, McBroom on June 19th, 2021 dropped a new video in which the Ace family touted the success of Social Gloves, and at the end of the video, McBroom announced part 2 of the Battle of the Platforms boxing event. I said it in the first video that Social Gloves 2 sounded like an attempt at a Ponzi scheme where new money would pay off old money. With this complaint, I'm very confident that someone in Austin's position would want money from a new event to pay off money owed from a previous event. Something else of note is that the defendants offered Tayler Holder an additional $200,000 if Holder's weight was 175 pounds on the day of the fight. SGP negotiated this amendment so that Holder would remain on the fight card and fight an opponent who was represented to be one weight class above Holder's then current weight class. Tayler fought a Neeson Gibb who was apparently heavier than him. Holder was induced to enter the ring against the fighter who substantially outweighed Holder without headgear, in violation of Florida's health and safety standards for amateur boxing. This story gets more fascinating every couple of days. Bryce Hall still hasn't officially sued Austin. I'm sure that will be next. My concern for Austin is all of these complaints sound legitimate and paint him as a guy going from one grift to the next. I imagine he's going to try to find a way to settle all of these lawsuits because they absolutely sound like they have merit. He has a rich YouTube family facade to keep up, but he better be careful because there's a path for him to lose everything, and based on his behavior, that might be the only way to prevent him from trying a Social Gloves 2 event. I'm looking forward to the next part of this saga. It's been really interesting so far. Thanks for watching.